My name is Eruch Karadia. I am from Bombay. Originally I am from Navsari, a place where Zoroastrians reside. I hope you all know who is Zoroaster. He is one of our prophet. In words of Meher Baba, he came as Zoroaster. So he and Meher Baba is same. Now, I would like to narrate how I came in contact with Meher Baba and how I felt about him in the first and how I feel about him today. You see, actually, since I come from those Zoroastrians who were opposing once upon a time Meher Baba to such an extent that you cannot imagine. Actually, I come from a group which is supposed to be anti-Meher Baba group. But since my childhood, I was always seeking God, in search of God. And in my childhood, in my school days, I came across a teacher who was our religious teacher. He used to tell me that if you ask God, God will come to you and you will get whatever you want. As such, I started searching more and more about God. And according to Parsi religion, I started praying even 5 times a day, which I am supposed to be normally doing as a Zoroastrian. But no amount of prayer, all this could brought me near God. Maybe that it was a basic foundation required for it. But so far as I did all that, I never came across. It so happened that after I finished my high school, I went in college in Pune. In those years, I came across a perfect master by name Upasni Maharaj. And from Upasni Maharaj, of course, Upasni Maharaj has dropped his body, but I went to his ashram, I went to his center in Sakori, where I came across a lady by name Godavari Mataji. She gave me some Guru Mantra. You follow what I mean, I hope. Guru Mantra means it's a kind of jap or a name of God given to be repeated continuously. I did that and I started believing in her, and I found a little bit of peace of mind when I went to that center. After that, I came across one advertisement, or you can say one item in the paper which said that Avatar Meher Baba will give darshan before he leaves for Solapur or Kolhapur, I forget exactly. And there he will be residing, he will be there for about 1 hour before the train timings. Those who want to take his darshan may come. As such, I went to Pune station. At Pune station, I found that he was, when I went there, he was not there, but I saw a lot of people gathered around him, about 300 to 400 people of different caste, creed, color, and different religions and all that. Some people were crying, some people were happy, and things like that. After about 15 minutes of my arrival there, Meher Baba came. When Meher Baba came, he went and sat on one of the bench. And on that bench, people came rushing to him, and they bowed down to him. Some people embraced him, some people kissed him, and things like that. Some people were crying more and more. This thing gradually ended in about 15 minutes time. After that, you see, being a now Zoroastrian and anti-group, I was told that Baba Baba says that he is not speaking, but he speaks. Baba, all opposite things I was knowing, that he is doing black magic and this and that and all that. But I found that this may be true. As such, I remain little away. And I never went near him because I saw people kissing and hugging to Baba and all that, which to my sight, when I went to Sakori, I never came across such thing. There people just touch the perfect master from a distance. That's all I was knowing. And people seem to be very simple there. While here I found it a little different. As such, I never went to him. At that very moment, after everybody had settled down, Baba signaled at me, saying to come closer. So I told him also by signal, because he was keeping silence, no to him. When I said no to him, people around that, they just pushed me and I came very near to Baba. When I reached him, he asked me the first question, do you believe in God? I said yes. Do you believe in anybody? I said Zoroaster. Then he said, do you believe anybody else? I said, Upasni Maharaj. Then he said, I and he is one. When he did like this, I said, maybe. Well, you understand, because I was absolutely against him. And then he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm studying. Then he looked at the watch and said, what time is it? Is it not the college time? You better go. Then he embraced me and kissed me. And then he said, what you are seeing here is not me. And that's all I forgot. And I just went to college and came back. When I came back from college, I was thinking about it, but I couldn't think much. After that, I joined another college in my hometown called Navsari. There I joined a center by name Sai Meher Mandal. It means that Sai Baba and Meher Baba Center. It was a combined center. There we used to read things from Upasni Baba, Sai Baba and Meher Baba. All lectures and things given by them or the people who have remained around him. When I came down to that, though I was not wanting to read anything about Meher Baba, I started reading about it. And in reading that, I found little interest, yet I was thinking that he may not be correct because I felt it that way. Now in 1954, there was a meeting in which Baba called about 150 men only. And when he called that, there was one restriction that age should be 21 years of age. And in 1954, I was only 20 years old. As such, my number was not there, I was not called. But it so happened that one of the person from Navsari, who was supposed to be going to Nagar at Meher Baba's place, couldn't go there because his wife became very sick and very serious and she was to be shifted to hospital and all that. So they sent a telegram saying that he will not be able to come, but we have got one person. So the reply came from Meher Baba that bring Eruch positively, repeat positively. As such, I went. But then I have accepted Godavari Mataji as my guru, as I told you, and she had given me that japa and all that. As such, I went about 3 days before my going to Nagar, that is Meherabad, and asked Godavari Mataji, can I go there? She told me, of course, I am going there. After I am coming there. She was the only lady who was allowed. So I thought I better go there. So I went there. And first day when I went, as I read from some books, that hypnotism and black magic, whosoever does, requires a circle of about 12 to 16 feet. So when we were all seated in front of Baba, and after finishing as usual regular prayers, that Parsi prayer, then a Zoroastrian prayer, then a Christian prayer, then a Muslim and a Hindu religion, and all those prayers were done. After that prayer was done, we went to, he was explaining certain things. While he was explaining how to live or what to, on some lectures on love, surrender and all that, I sometimes in between used to engross in those lectures, and as such, I used to forget repeating God's name which I was repeating. so that he may not do some black magic on me or hypnotism or whatever you call it. But it so happened that every time I stopped taking God's name, he waved at me saying, repeat God's name. So only I and he knew. Every time I stopped, he reminded me. So this happened for about 4 or 5 times in a day. Well, by that time the lunch time came up and we were told that nobody will come to a room where Baba is going to take lunch and you will have a separate lunch. I finished my lunch and I hurriedly went and wanted to see whether Baba is really speaking or is just bluffing as usual that he is not speaking. As such, though it was ordered not to go there, I went by the side of a window and looked through the window. To my surprise, I found Baba was not speaking. He was giving some kind of information to Eruch and Adi who was standing there by his side when he was eating. But he was everything by gestures. In all those gestures, I found that he is not speaking at all. As such, I thought that the people who were talking about that he speaks when he is alone was all wrong I came across. Then same thing continued after the lunch hour. We again got together. We started discussing things what he was discussing, and invariably, as usual, I forgot for another few times. When I forgot for a few times, he said, he always pointed at me. Every time I stopped, the same thing, repeat God's name. That's what he meant by this. And I started repeating God's name. Now the next day, by then the evening started, Baba went back to Meherazad and we stayed at Meherabad. We were discussing, eating and enjoying, and we slept. Next day morning, as usual, I told you I used to pray for 5 times those days. Now of course I don't do it. So those 5 times I got up early morning and I started praying. Now after getting up early, had my bath and all that, I went to a room on the left hand side instead of right hand side where Baba took lunch was the right hand side. While I went into the left hand room where there was a big Baba's portrait and a quiet room. So I thought this is the right place to sit and do some prayer. So I started doing prayer. Prayer means I started doing that jap which I told you. When I started doing that jap, I found that after about some 5-10 minutes, normally I used to sit for hours when I never got anything. But to my surprise, I got something which I cannot believe it even. That I saw Zoroaster. I mean, in front of me, I saw Zoroaster. And which I could never even dream it. So I found that it is, I'm in dream. So I opened my eyes. When I opened my eyes and saw with my both eyes, I found that Zoroaster was very much there. And in that, he was telling me that this photo which was there, which was Meher Baba, is me. So I thought, no, I saw it and I found him saying the same thing, that I am the same Zoroaster. I am the same, he is pointing at the photo and saying that I and Zoroaster are same. That's what Zoroaster was telling me. When I saw that, I got so much puzzled that I came out from the room and I started thinking, what is this? Then of course nobody was knowing about it, so we had our breakfast and all that, and by the time it was 8 o'clock. So Baba came at Meherabad again, early morning, as usual. We did all prayers and all that, as usual. And then he came across, and the first sentence he said, that I am the same ancient one. The second sentence he said, I and Zoroaster are one. So I immediately got a shock, and I started crying there. Baba pointed at me and said, not to cry, because on the first day, on the board he has shown that forget that you are here with God and yourself and nobody else. Forget if you are married, your wife, children, you forget about it. If you are having business or service, you forget about that. If you have got mother, father, you forget about that. Think that we are two only and nobody else. And he has shown that. And don't worry and be happy. These were the things he had written on that. While all those things I was doing, but I was crying. So when he said not to cry, I started crying more and more. It so happened that when I started crying more and more, he called me, he embraced me and he kissed me. That is where I just came to consolation, and I just could keep myself quiet. Then with this two coincidence, I came to such an extent that whatever the people were telling in my hometown, they don't know what they were talking about a perfect master or an avatar. They don't know anything about it. And during my stay, for those 7 days, he explained so many things on love, obedience and all that I found that I have wasted my 3 years which I met 3 years before, and also my 1 day which I was very much with him. Anyhow, these are the different ways Baba brings different people together. Everyone has an individual experience, and to my knowledge, so far as I've gone half the world around, and I have come across number of devotees or lovers or whatever you call it. And I have always found that everyone has met him in one or the other way. And no two person I see as very much similar. It's absolutely different way. Then of course, in those days, he took us from lower Mirazad to the upper hill where his body is kept today. While taking it up, he told me, I saw one donkey. And since by that time I had read all Bibles and other religious books, so I found one of that during when he was a Christ, there was a donkey. That donkey was having a cross on his shoulder. The rest of the donkeys are supposed to be those donkeys who do not believe Christ. As such, they have got no Christ and no cross. So I asked Baba, is the same donkey when you were Christ? So he just petted me and he said, you don't know how lucky you are. Then as we were going up the hill, Baba asked me, doing this sign, saying, when Sai Baba was alive, how many people were coming to Shirdi, where his tomb is today? I said, very few people. Then he asked me second question, how much money Sai Baba center is having now? So I said about 45 to 100,000 rupees. So that's what I read in paper, that's what I told him. So he told me, when Sai Baba was alive, that is before 1918, what he was doing? I said he was begging and eating from house to house and house to house. He said, what is the use of having so much money and so much people going today when he is not physically present? He said, you all, including those 150 who were with me, are very lucky that when I am today in physical form, you are walking with me, talking with me and going around with me. And you have no idea that how, how you will miss when it will be so much that when I will drop my body and when my body will be in that tomb which he showed me while we were going up the hill, then the number of people will come. And today you are very close to me. You have no value of it. But tomorrow, when I will be in the tomb, you will be at the last in the row, because there will be thousands of people who will be coming there, and you will not be very close to me. So you don't know how lucky you are to. That's all he said. Now after that, of course, I met Baba number of times. I met practically every year or every alternate years. Since after that, I finished my college. I went to Calcutta, and I was called, I don't know, I'm lover from which place, I don't know. I call myself lover of Navsari, lover from Bombay and also from Calcutta. As such, I got the maximum opportunity to be with Baba maximum number of time. Any time Baba used to say, you see, Baba used to give different orders to different people, different time, saying that today no Pune will come. So I myself say that I am not from Pune, and as such I was going from Calcutta. There was no such time when he said no Calcutta lover will come. So invariably I used to come. But people used to know that I am from Navsari and Pune, Bombay, so sometimes they used to stop me. Those close Mandali people or those places where he went. So sometimes in Bombay they stopped me. One day it was very funny. I knew two people very well. That is, you must be knowing all, that Dada Chandji's family.